everybody. Well, today I've got a special job to do. I'm in defense of the color yellow. Now, when I suggest to some of my customers, how about some of these yellow flowering plants? And they say, oh no, I don't like yellow, I've got too much yellow. Yes, yellow can predominate the garden. If you think of the early part of spring when you get all those yellow daffodils coming up and followed by a field of dandelions in your lawn, you can see why people get a bit turned off. Plus, when you say yellow, it's not a very flattering term. If you're yellow, it says that you're cowardly, and somehow it gets transposed to our dear yellow friends in the plant world as well. And with the summer we've had, with all that rain, everything is just such a single tone of green. It's nice to have something that's got a different color to it. Aren't you, my little yellow friend? Well, let's get things rolling with a real classic, and of course that's the Rudbeckia. Now, we're very familiar with this sort of size and lots of these wonderful little black-eyed Susan flowers. This is American Gold Rush. It's one of the newer varieties that doesn't get the black spotting on it. In my hand is a tiny little baby one, so about a foot tall or about 2 feet. But if you really want to make a mark in your summer garden, go with some of the taller ones. And this is Autumn Sun. It will get up about this high, about my height, and flower, probably flower through September. Now, if you want something that's a little bit more unusual, have a look at this one. You're going to have to come in. This is Henry Eiler's. It's a quilled Rudbeckia. The petals don't open up except at the end. It's a kind of a subtle plant. So if you don't want a bright yellow, a pale yellow, Henry Eiler's is the one to go with. If you really want a yellow, then this plant behind us. This is Indian Summer. This is my favorite of what they call the Gloriosa daisies. It's still a Rudbeckia. It's not a great perennial, but it does seed itself. So I think that's enough said of Rudbeckia. I still think they're great plants in the yard. And as you see, there's a great variety of choice to be had. Well, my next plant I want to talk about is the sunflower. Now, not the classic annual sunflower you grow for those massive seed heads. These are perennial sunflowers. I've got two in front of me. This variety is called Lodon Gold. Sometimes it has a single set of petals. Sometimes, like this fading one, it has a whole bunch of double flower. Now, it spreads in the yard. It will fill up an area and give you about 3 feet of height and flowers just about now. It's still got flowers to come. This is a taller Helianthus. Helianthus is the Latin for the sunflower. Helio meaning the sun. It's a paler yellow, hence its name, Lemon Queen. Now, I've got a massive one of these at home. It must be about 8 feet tall. It will fill up a yard. It's a bold plant. If you wanted to come out behind your perennial border and give you a surprise this time of year, then Lemon Queen certainly does that. Now, there is something called a false sunflower, and this is it right here. I'm going to reach across and pull it. We have it growing next to Rudbeckia on our bank here at the garden centre, and it forms like a 3-4 foot bush. There are smaller varieties available. My final group in this little section is this chap. I love these plants. As a kid, I remember growing up with these, thinking these were a British native plant, Helen's flower. But it actually is, like a lot of wonderful garden plants used in Europe, originates in the Americas. And another big yellow flower to think about is the cup flower. The cup flower, Silphium, is a Native American plant, just like the goldenrod. And I brought this out just to show you. It's not a fine example of a plant, but this plant will go wild in your yard. It hates being in the pot, hence why the leaves are darkening up and drying out. But this produces probably a 7-8 foot monster called a cup flower because the leaf wraps around the stem and makes a little pond where the water can collect and the birds can drink at the cup here. So as you can see from that little plant in a pot, this is what it will grow into. And it's probably getting close to 10 feet tall. Remarkable plant. I've got to cut it down if it collapses too much, but it's just a fun plant to have in your yard. Well, we can't talk about summer yellows without mentioning some of the wonderful yellows that are out there. And these container plantings show you just what these yellow annuals do. This is that Creeping Jenny. It's a yellow leaf version, but it looks like rain. Looks like the planter is overfilled and cascading down. And of course, the sweet potato vines, which do actually produce potatoes in the pot. I'm not sure if they're edible or not, just cascades out as well. And here's a little plant that actually does its own little contrasting. It's a Dahlia, Mystic Illusion. It's got this lemony yellow flower and again a lovely dark purple leaf. So it makes quite a splash. And again, the yellow brings out the contrast better than anything else. Well, coming from a part of the world where there seem to be far more cloudy days than there are sunny days, yellow is used to bring a bit of artificial sunlight. And this tree behind me, the Thrisia locust, is a fine example of that. Now, it's a Native American, it's a black locust, but it was actually bred in Holland to have these bright yellow leaves. And the English have adopted it as basically, it seems to be in every other garden. Now, the other thing is nice, if the sun actually comes through it, the yellow seems to be even more enhanced. So that's a Thrisia locust. They're not easy to find. It's a black locust, a native tree. Will have yellow flowers that are fragrant, sometimes, some years better than others, but a very, very nice tree to bring a bit of sunshine into a dull grey day. Well, here's another yellow shrub, and this time it is a red stem dogwood that has yellow leaves, an aurea version. Stems are green at the moment, but the stem dogwoods go red when the cold weather arrives. So you've got quite a contrast at some stage with this plant. Now don't go away, when we come back we'll be looking at some of the evergreens that are yellow, or should they be called ever yellows. We'll also be looking at the shade garden. Welcome back to Home and Backyard, and we're continuing our great yellow campaign. Often yellow is ignored in the garden because it's so common, but there are some very interesting uses. And right behind me is one of my favorite uses. We have an evergreen. It's a big, tall Crypsis chamaecyparis, a full cypress. That must be about, I don't know, maybe 15 feet tall at the moment. It is one of the best yellows in winter. That's why we have it in a very strategic place here at the garden center. But an evergreen or an ever yellow is that color all year round. Well, on the smaller scale, this is orangey yellow arbor vitae. It's called Rhinegold. Very, very useful, real dense color foliage. Now, one of my favorite plants is this. This is Sabre Gold, named after a famous garden. The yellow is quite outstanding, especially on the tips. It's like a lot of these spreading junipers, they can get quite big. I can see this at least 10 feet wide and maybe 4 or 5 feet tall. The branches kind of lean over, then dip down a bit. And that gives a wonderful effect. Now, with a lot of junipers, don't shear them back. Don't get the hedge trimmers on it. Take out the odd branch every now and then to let air flow. If you give them plenty of sunshine and plenty of air movement, they won't cause you any problem. They'll last a lifetime. Well, I'm in the shade house now, and the plants that really stick out now are the yellows and the whites. But let's concentrate on those yellows. I've made a little collection here to show you. This is a little low-growing Filipendula with lovely yellow leaves. Hosta, of course, there are lots of brilliant yellow forms. That's a small ground cover one. And behind me, there's a larger, big yellow. Now, there are a couple of grasses that are particularly good in the shade. This is Bowles Golden Carex. And this one here is really the one I want to concentrate on. This is one of the Japanese wood grasses, the Hakone grasses. It's not a fine example, but in the landscape, we have a nice one for you to look at. Early spring when it comes out, midsummer, it's a lovely yellow, and now it becomes a little chartreusey with golden tips. Now, the one that really gets all the gold medal is this one. This is Huckarela. It's crossed between a Tiarella and a Hucharela. But look at the leaf. It's got golden leaf with a red kind of, I don't know what you call it, finger-like reddening in the middle. Pretty flowers when it flowers. So there you go. When you're looking for shade plantings, look for those things that are going to pop. And the yellows, as well as the variegated ones, certainly do that. Well, to round things out, let's look at some plants that are going to really turn a brilliant yellow in the fall. Now, if you've got plants that go an orange color or a red color, putting a ginkgo like this next door to it, this has an absolutely brilliant yellow color. Similar kind of yellows come from birches or some of the quaking aspens. They will go a lovely yellow color and correspond. So this fall, look around your yard. Look if you need to have a bright yellow fall foliage. And certainly a ginkgo, there are miniature versions, and of course there are big ones like this that will get up 50, 60 feet tall. So be careful, the right plant in the right place, remember. Now, if you've got any questions, I'm down here at the Garden Center, Greystone Gardens. We're in Clark Summit. I love to see you, and I love to answer your questions. See you soon.